Welcome Aquarius to Angeltopia TV, the home of Soothing Angel Tarot. Thank you for joining today. I'm really glad you're here because we're going to be doing something a little bit different this time. And we're going to look ahead at the next 3 months. So we're going to be looking at July, August and September of 2023. So I'm really excited to bring you your angel messages. So just a few reminders before we begin. Do subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more from Angeltopia TV, and hit the notification bell to be notified of when new videos arrive on the channel. Hit the thumbs up button if this reading resonates with you, and also share the video with any other Aquarius out there that you feel would benefit from these messages. Do remember that these readings are no substitute for professional healthcare or financial advice. They are intended for your gentle guidance and soothing comfort only. So with all of that in mind, the cards have been pre-shuffled and we're going to dive in and see what is in store for you. So let's have a look and see. We've got 7 of air, 2 of air, the moon, and the hermit. Okay, Aquarius, let's dive in and figure out what's been happening for you. So in the days and weeks leading up to this reading, I feel like perhaps you've had a lot on your mind, first off. Air cards in this particular deck are representative of our thoughts and ideas. So I feel like there's quite a lot going on in this busy picture. So I feel like you've had a lot on your mind. And it does actually say here, plans that need revision. More going on than meets the eye and poor timing. So I feel like you've been perhaps going through a bit of a frustrating time of late. And it may be that you've been trying to put a plan together and not been having much luck. I feel like maybe it's been one of those situations where life keeps happening and getting in the way. There's something you want to get done, want to get sorted, but things keep happening to kind of prevent that from being finalized. It says more going on than meets the eye. So that tells me that you've been carrying a lot more than you've been telling people. So you've been carrying a lot of the burden on your own shoulders and not asking for help. This can be something that ends up it becomes like a pressure cooker. It just builds up inside. So I think you've been sort of ready to burst either into a fit of rage or perhaps a kind of a tumbling of emotions. And it just says poor timing. So I don't feel like these delays are really down to anything that you've done. It's not your fault. It's just the way life goes sometimes. It's just not been the right time for you. But you have been eager to find the right moment for something to come to fruition. As I think I said before, it's quite a busy picture here. It tells me there's a lot on your mind, but I do feel like there's little moments of like flashes of inspiration that come through, and it sort of gives a sense of, I get a sense of exhaustion from this image, if I'm honest, for you Aquarius. I just feel like you've reached a point where you're like, oh, I've had enough of this, and you're just about ready to give up. What I would say to you is that I wouldn't give up fully. There's a time and a place for everything. And if this thing is meant to be, then it will come about. I think it's just a case of being patient, but exercising patience at a time of frustration, I realise, is very, very difficult. So don't beat yourself up too much. Going into sort of the next few months, let's have a look. So some of the energy of this does spill into July, and we're about 5 days into July now. So it actually says here, the 2 of air, another air card, things on your mind. This card talks about some sort of inner conflict. Should I stay or should I go? Should I do this or should I do that? That kind of energy. Being unable or unwilling to make a decision, it says here. A stalemate and pretending there is no problem. Now, what were we saying before? Carrying a burden that more than meets the eye. So you've been carrying a burden that doesn't seem that big to other people, but it's huge to you. And you've been trying to decide perhaps whether to give up or keep going. And you're at loggerheads with yourself by the looks of things here, Aquarius. But it says here a stalemate. So that doesn't mean it's completely ground to a halt. I think you're just in some sort of delayed energy. It says pretending there's no problem. You're very good at showing the outside world that you're fine, but then it's not always the case. You carry a lot on your shoulders without revealing exactly how much weight you're carrying. And I think that takes its toll on you after a while emotionally, because there's only so much you can carry before you do need the support of the people around you, or someone you can trust. Pretending that nothing's wrong really doesn't solve the issue. It just means you're bottling up more than you should be, and you don't deserve to carry that around. I want you to sort of be able to breathe a sigh of relief, and I want to see whether or not that's going to come around. Now, the good news is this indicates change. So this is your card for August time. I think August is when you're going to see a turning point with this, Aquarius. And the moon, first of all, is part of the major arcana in this deck. And you've got Archangel Haniel, who has come to work with you and your guardian angel in order to try and get some sort of balance going, some sort of outcome that will work out for you and everyone's best interests. So it says important psychic insights. So I think it's a time to trust your intuition, Aquarius. I think what I would advise you to do is that you actually are quite perceptive and you don't often realize. So you can pick up on energies and vibes that if something doesn't feel right, you tend to veer away from it. And whilst you haven't trusted that 100% in the past all the time, I feel like you ought to. I think it's a lot stronger, that instinct, than you realize it is. Events behind the scenes. So this is what I was saying, that I don't think these delays or anything was your fault. I think there's stuff going on beyond your knowledge and beyond your control that have caused this to be delayed. But also it says release fears that hold you back. So I think what happens when you hit an obstacle of some sort, you tend to clam up. What they're showing me is someone with their shoulders hunched right up to their eardrums, right, eardrums, earlobes, and I it's kind of like you're hunched and you're scrunched up and you're stressed and you're full of tension, and I think when you get like that, when you get frustrated, you get fearful that something's never going to come into fruition, and then when you get fearful, you don't take action, you stop. Because it's a protective mechanism inside of you where if you fear something's not going to work out the way you want, you just give up on it. And that is a completely human trait, Aquarius. It's not something you should beat yourself up about. That is, you're human, and that is completely understandable. Haniel here is trying to remind you that you do have support around you. If you just be open to it. She has open arms here, and she's gesturing to, she's got the wolf on one side and the dog on the other, and that represents sort of the wild and the tame, but it's the same kind of, it's the same, almost the same creature, only one is wild and one is domesticated. So I feel like when things are changeable, when energies are changeable, you are a little bit changeable in that you can kind of go from okay 1 minute and wild the next, and just I feel like you're full of tension and quite riled by and frustrated by this. But what Archangel Haniel is saying here is there is a way to balance the two in order for things to flow better. You can see this water flowing from each side into the same river. Both of those sides of your personality are who you are, but it's just a case of balancing them out so that you can enjoy the beauty and the light around you. If your thoughts start getting fearful, Aquarius, that's when you can cause delays yourself. Up until now, I feel like delays have been out of your control, out of your hands, but how you handle a changeable situation, it really does speak to its outcome. So it's important to get a balance of your emotions between your frustration and your calm in order to get things flowing again. I think if you let those emotions imbalance in any way, that it's going to hinder you further, and that's the last thing that you want. So just listen for gentle nudges and look for signs from your angels. They're showing me they're going to start leaving little clues for you to let you know that you are supported. Even if you feel alone in the situation, your angels are there, whether you want to acknowledge them or not. So you're going to start finding things like coins in strange places, or feathers where they ought not to be any. But also look out for little nudges of different kind. It's beyond feathers and coins sometimes. It might be that you glance at that front page of a newspaper and there's a headline that speaks directly to your life as well as the situation it's talking about, or a song suddenly comes on that has a lyric that's meaningful to you. These are also angel messages. They're subliminal, but they're there. Also, do bear in mind that angels don't have free will like human beings do. And basically, if they've come to your side and they're looking to work with you, you have to tell them and give them permission to step in and help. Because they can't act of their own free will. They need your permission to help you. So either talk to them out loud or quietly in your mind and just say, I'm giving you guys permission to step in and help me with this situation, to get it off the ground, to get it moving, so I can feel some progress happening, because I need that to encourage me to go on, to go further and get it done. And that way you're taking control, you're balancing out how you're feeling with the reality of the situation, and therefore you're less likely to let your frustrations get the better of you, or to sit too stagnant and happy for everything to just plod along the way it has. And then you'll feel like more in control of the situation. I think that's a feeling for you that's been largely absent, that you've really wanted to sort of feel. And then September time here, we've got the Hermit. Now, Archangel Raziel is a great angel for if you're taking sort of an inward journey, if you're going within and doing work on yourself. I think by the time August gets over and done with and you hit September, you've realized that you might need to step away from the things that have been frustrating you, and do a little bit of extra work on yourself, like balancing out your emotions. And I think there are some spiritual practices that you will find useful, like meditation, for example. Now, I was talking about this in another reading I did recently, where meditation is different for everybody. So for one person, yes, it's sitting cross-legged on the floor chanting and with your eyes closed, but for other people it's taking a walk in nature and allowing your mind to roam and wander to things that it doesn't usually get time to think about. Or it can be 20 minutes of self-care where you shut yourself away with a book you've been dying to read for ages, and you just make time, quiet time for yourself at one interval of the day. And I really do feel like that will help you. It does say here, spend time in quiet meditation, spiritual teaching, and self-discovery. I feel like as you've sort of felt a particular situation spiral a bit, and you sort of feel like you can't get a grasp on it, or you can't seem to move past it, and you can't seem to stop thinking about it, there's a lot of thinking going on here. I think what you'll do is you'll turn to sort of certain books and self-help guides for answers. You may have even taken to podcasts to try and listen to thought leaders about how to kind of progress in life and how to be successful, and how human beings can do extraordinary things, because that's what you're striving towards. And I believe that on this journey, you're going to learn some really interesting stuff, Aquarius. So I'm quite interested to see how this unfolds for you, because I feel like in September time, when you do start exploring these new approaches and new ways of thinking, it's going to open up a whole universe of ideas for you, and it will make you realize that tolling away on something that's just not coming through could be because it's just not meant for you. Perhaps there's something better waiting in the wings, and I don't think you'll have considered that before, because this seemed like the thing that was going to fix everything. And then here we have time sort of saying to you, okay, slow down, take a breath. Is it really what you want, or is there some other alternative that might just work out better for you? It's time to consider stuff that you haven't thought of before, and that's what Raziel is here to help you do. So the good news here is that you do have two archangels working with you in August and September time, after quite a self-conflicted time. You've been frustrated. I can see there's been a lot going on, and it's left you in kind of a stalemate and at loggerheads with yourself. What should I do? Should I do this or that? Stay or go? It's a decision that you've been struggling with, I think. And then August time, you realize how much of a toll it's been taking on you and the impact of that on you and the people around you. And you've started to try and release anything that's not doing you any good. And that's leading you into September, where you start to realize how beneficial that act is. And you start to dive even deeper with that. You're reading books you haven't read before. You're listening to podcasts. You're searching YouTube for interesting discussions about success, about life, about how to gain control of your reality and your destiny. And I think that's a really interesting journey for you to take, because it almost feels like there were only limited options, and now you're opening your heart and your mind to something new and spiritual and different. And then September time, you realize that there are actually endless possibilities that you could explore. Really interesting and specific journey here for you, Aquarius. So let's have a look. I've given these cards a pre-shuffle as well, but I'll just give them another quick squiz just to get some clarity on what we've got here, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of it. Look at this action. So this card speaks volumes. Here we have you struggling to make a decision, and through no fault of your own, it's come down to two options, and you're just trying to decide which one's best. But either way, it's important to act, whether it's on this decision or on how the decision is making you feel. So your angels are urging you, so don't be stuck in doing nothing. Do something, but make sure that it's a positive form of action that will help bring about a bit of change. What else have we got here? Attachment. Okay, so this is interesting, because once we get one idea in our minds, Aquarius, it can be that it's hard to let go of it. I think you've been heading in this direction for so long that you cannot see another path. You can't see another way through. This was the be all and end all for you. But then you've just sort of suddenly started to realize that, okay, maybe I'm just too attached to it because it's been in my mind so long and I've been hurtling towards it as fast as I can, and now it's just not going anywhere. Maybe I was just too attached to that idea to see other possibilities. So that is a really interesting message to come through as a clarity for your August time card. Now, what else have we got? Wow, look at that. Happy family. You can't make this up. I love that, because here I told you that in September time, you're going to start examining how this situation has been making you feel. And you're going to start doing some spiritual work on yourself, that maybe you're going to start saying to yourself, maybe it's in my power to change it in a different way. Maybe this wasn't the way to go. Maybe there is another option. And as you do that, and as you release that burden, you lift it off your shoulders, the people around you start to see a difference in you, Aquarius. And they're going to be saying to themselves, wow, they've really cheered up. I felt a shift in them, and I actually want to encourage that. I want to be around them more. And I just think your support unit are going to notice a shift in you in September time. They're going to notice that you have a lighter energy about you, and as such, they're going to be wanting to spend more time with you. You've got the number 4 here as well, and 4 is a really strong angel number. It's suggestive that you have help and support all around you, which is really apt for a family card, because you have obviously your family that are in your life, and if they're not in your life, it's the family you've created in terms of the friends around you, the circle that you've built around you. But family are also the unseen entities, your spirit guides, your angels, the spirits of family past you are trying to nudge you in the right direction. They are always around. I feel like you have a lot of energy around you that suggests that people are cheering you on from the other realms. Family members who have passed on, and they can see that you're struggling and they want to help, and they're going, come on, you can do this. And I think deep down you're starting to hear them coming through, those voices encouraging you. Like, it's okay, so this didn't work out, so what? There are other routes to take. And when you explore that, you learn a lot about you, and you open up a world, a universe of other possibilities that could be infinitely better than this thing you couldn't decide upon. Amazing. Very specific. Okay, this may not resonate with all of you, but take what resonates and leave the rest. Again, these were pre-shuffled, but I'm just giving them one more quick squiz because we're going to get some final answers from the angels. Oh, look at that. You're ready, Aquarius. You've got this. Now, this is extra clarity for July. I think July is when you realize you've hit a wall, but it's an internal struggle. And your angels are saying, do something about it. Don't get stuck in this energy because that's just going to wind you up. You're ready to examine new ideas, new avenues to explore. You are ready to take this on, even if you feel like you haven't been, even if this has left you feeling tired and weak and wanting to let it all go and give up. You're ready to take it on. You're ready for the next phase, the next chapter of your life. And it's time to get excited, Aquarius. Listen to your intuition. Oh my goodness, what was I saying here? Important psychic insights. Your intuition serves you well. I was saying that you need to trust that more. And this is just confirmation. Your intuition is very, very strong at this time, especially within August, when you start to explore how, like, go within and do the work on you and try and balance your emotions out. You will intuit when you need to take a break, or when you need to have space, when you need quiet, when you need some thinking time, when you need to buckle down, and listen to those instincts because they're a lot stronger than you realize, Aquarius. And then finally we have be assertive. Wow, wow, wow. And this is September time, when you finally get a grasp on your emotions and your feelings and your ideas and where you want to take things from here. Your home life improves as a result. But let them know what you want. People aren't going to know what's wrong and how to help you unless you tell them and speak your truth. And it comes down to you saying, all right, guys, this is what I need. Can you help? Can you support that? And people around you love you. Of course they will. They'll do whatever you need to help you along and keep you happy and keep you feeling like you're looked after. As long as you're honest about it, not just with them, but with yourself as well. Because if something's not working, forcing it isn't going to get anywhere, because it clearly isn't for you. It's not the answer. There's a better answer waiting. So speak your truth, step into your power, be who you've always wanted to be, and speak your mind in a mindful way. And you will get to the next level of spiritual growth. I feel like this is a little learning curve for you, because you've realized that certain aspects of life do frustrate you and you struggle with it for a bit. You know you're ready for the next chapter, but you need to act in order to make it happen. But instead of forcing it, you sort of realize that there's nothing to be gained from that except, more stress, more tension. You've grown attached to it, and therefore it doesn't actually mean it's the answer. It just means it's what you've become fixated upon. So the moon energy in August sort of brings about a change in it. It's an internal change. It's a change within you. And by September time, you're going to feel like a weight has lifted, because you examined what was getting you down and you addressed it directly. Your family and your friends and your colleagues and everyone around you sees a difference, and therefore all of those relationships improve as a result. And it all comes from being honest with yourself and other people about what you want and what you need to get there. Oh, wow. That's incredible, Aquarius. Okay, so first of all, I don't like sort of anything too negative. And whilst I can pick up on a bit of tension here, It's largely very positive, Aquarius. Look at these cards here. These are all kind of empowering statements here. You're ready. You know deep down what you want, and you've got to speak your mind and step into your power. It's encouragement on every level, and you've got some really major angels coming in to work with you. You're taking action, you're becoming happier, and then I feel like that's going to snowball into the end of the year, and you're going to see an improvement even from this point on. It will improve, I'm sure. I can feel it. They're showing me a notepad, like a spiral notepad. If it helps you to write things down when you think of them, so that you're not carrying all of that around in your mind all the time, do that. Treat yourself to a little notepad and pen and carry it around with you, so that you can unburden yourself wherever you happen to be, and you can come back to those ideas later and address them in a really logical way, and then that will make you feel like you're in more control of the situation. So yeah, there's a lot here to work with, but it's going in a really lovely, positive direction. And it's because you've taken the time to work on the biggest project, and most important project of all, and that's you. Project You. So I just love this reading. There's so much in it, and it's so specific, but I really do feel like it speaks to some sort of victory here. And I think it's only going to get better from this point on. So I wish you all the luck in the world, Aquarius. Thank you for joining me for this reading today. If this resonated with you, remember, hit the thumbs up and share the video, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and then that way you won't miss a thing coming up. And there is lots more to come, Aquarius. So I look forward to seeing you again soon, and bye-bye for now.